Alright, welcome back to the channel, everyone. I just finished watching episode 5. It's 4 a.m. and I want to talk about it. Let's get into it. Just a quick message before we get into the review. I know sometimes I get a little bit long with these, and some people have said that I tell too much. I want to apologize for that, but we also have people that watch that are from UK, and they can't get this show. So I try to go long for them, and then do other videos to break down individual scenes. So yeah, that's the reason I do that. So if it bothers you, I'm sorry. But let's get into the review. All right, so I don't think I've ever been more excited to be wrong about something. We thought that person walking up we thought it was Jadis, we thought it was Morgan, we thought it was Silas, but it wasn't any of them. It was a walker that was killed by Gabriel. Of all people, it was Gabriel. They brought Gabriel back. Oh my gosh, that was so amazing. I was never more excited to see Father Gabriel. And when he first came into in the original show, the main show, he wasn't my favorite, but I really grew to love that character. And I don't know why I didn't think of him. He had the connection with Jadis, and I didn't think of him. Did any of you? You have this person walking up, and this is who was Gabriel. I should have known with the black pants and everything, but I mean, it's not like he's the only character that can wear black pants, so come on. But anyway, so he walks up, and then we see him kill a walker. We get the reveal that it's Gabriel, and we can hear the helicopter, and he's praying. And when we heard the helicopter, my first thought was, this is the reclamation team coming to kill Alexandria, because I never would have suspected that Jadis or Anne actually went back to speak with Gabriel. So yeah, because she seems so in, and so she believes so much of the CRM's rules that I never thought she'd do that. But apparently over the years, and we find out in this episode, over the years she went back and she had meetings with Gabriel once a year. And as the title sequence rolled on, I was really fearful for Alexandria. I thought, we might get the episode, then at the end we would see what the result was, because we knew I was for sure that Jadis was going to die this episode. So then we get Michonne and Rick, and they're coming into this town. We don't know what the town is, but they're coming through, and this really reminded me of one of the episodes. I can't think of the episode number or what season it's in, but it's quite a ways back, where Rick and Michonne, they're out on their run, and this after we know that they're a couple, and I believe it's the episode where they're maybe at the carnival, and Michonne thinks that Rick gets killed, but he's safe, and I think that's where they were trying to kill the deer. If you know the episode I'm talking about, you can let me know in the comments. But yeah, this episode really made me remember that one. So anyway, they get into the town, and they find a truck, a van of noodles, and I guess noodles never expire, I guess, or they always stay good, and they get them some noodles. So, and it's while they're having their romantic noodle dinner that we can see that they are in the area of Yellowstone, just like we thought. And so that's going to explain the walkers with the calcified heads. We have there's some people who seem to know about like minerals and that kind of stuff in our comments, and they were right. That's what I thought, but they kind of confirmed that over last week. But anyway, so that's where we know where they are right here. They haven't gotten very, very far on their way home. So soon after, they found their way to this welcome center. They have all the crap that you can buy like at a gift shop type place. I guess this is kind of like near a campground near Yellowstone is what I'm thinking. And while they're there, Michonne, they have a conversation. They're talking about like stuff to bring home to RJ, and she picks up a hatchet and says we can take this to him. And Rick says, "Is that who he is?" And Michonne tells Rick that they're them, and that Judith has a sword, and the hatchet actually comes back up later in the episode, so that's the reason I wanted to mention it here. Rick and Michonne, they find a login book and a key for a cabin, so they decide to go to the cabin, and that's when we get the scene that was the clip for episode 5, the kind of like the teaser that I think it was released on Friday or Saturday. It might have been Friday. And it's kind of I thought it was gonna be the opening minutes, but it was actually this right here. So we just see Rick and Michonne. They're walking through the woods, and they're talking about Thorn, and Michonne's talking about how she was so in for the CRM, and he was explaining that she was trying to get home, and Okafor found her. She was trying to get home to a loved one, and then we hear some screaming, and that's when we meet these new characters. Rick and Michonne run to aid these new characters, and they're just for this episode. I mean, that's just kind of to push the story along, considering how it goes, like later on. But so Rick and Michonne, they run in, they fight the walkers off, and it's kind of funny when they go against the walker with the calcified head, and Rick tells Michonne, I'll break it, you shoot it, and they do. They kill the walker, and they save these people, and Michonne says they look hungry, so they offer them some of their noodles, and that's when one of the characters decides that he doesn't want some of the noodles, he wants all of the noodles, and boy does he pull a gun on the wrong people. And Rick and Michonne, they get the upper hand, and it's really neat to see her because it's kind of like old Rick back. He has that head tilt, he has that kind of that swagger back, and so yeah, they end up just leave. Michonne takes the noodles back, and because she's not going to leave noodles for these people who pulled guns on them, she says, and Rick and Michonne go on their way, and I thought we probably wouldn't see these characters again. Rick and Michonne make it to their cabin. They have a little something to drink, and then they turn in, and we see later that Jadis has arrived, and she has kind of taken down Rick's tripwires. So then we get the first of, I believe, 3 flashbacks where we see Jadis. That she comes back every year, and she has a talk with Father Gabriel in the years that Rick was gone. And so I was relieved to see that what we saw at the beginning was just the first time that she came back, instead of Alexandria being destroyed. And I will go back later and break down all of these. I'll do a video breaking down all of these visits with Father Gabriel, but we're just going to kind of talk general right here. In a lot of ways, these flashbacks are Jadis's kind of the story of Jadis after she left. We find out that there's still a lot of Anne in there, and that she does have remorse for the awful things that she's done, that she's doing these things because she believes that she's serving the greater purpose, and that she's helping, and that's the reason she's doing these things. She's not she's not fully gone. She's still Anne that was close with Father Gabriel. After the flashback, we get Jadis barging in on Rick and Michonne when they're in their sleep. She pulls a gun on them, and she's threatening to kill them. And she lets them know that so we thought maybe that there was a tracker in Rick's fake hand, but it turns out she just saw she was in the helicopter that blew up the building, that blew up the helicopter, and she came back and she realized that while the building was destroyed, there was the truck was gone. And so she figured that Rick and Michonne had escaped, and then she followed the noodle wrapper. So the noodles did play like a big part in Jadis finding them. Jadis makes another threat about Alexandria and everyone, and Rick and Michonne they make their move. They jump off the bed. Jadis fires at them, and Michonne's able to get the upper hand through the course of the fight. She throws the hatchet that she had picked up. That's the reason I said it would come back into play later. And it sticks. And she hits Jadis in the side and wounds her pretty bad. And then they have to go. They have to chase her because they can't let her get away. So then we get the car chase that we saw in the trailer that everyone thought was Jadis chasing Rick and Michonne. Turns out it's actually Rick and Michonne chasing Jadis, and she ends up wrecking. And she comes across the characters that we saw earlier that tried to rob Rick and Michonne, and she promises them to help them take them back to her community if they will help her get away. And then we see Rick and Michonne barging into this building that they tracked Jadis to from her blood flow. It's a pretty tense sequence as Rick and Michonne are walking through this building, checking behind these different like sheets and tarps, looking for Jadis. They don't realize that these people are here, and they come up on the lady who she's tall. She kind of resembles Jadis from behind. Jadis has given her clothes, and they're able to get the upper hand on Rick and Michonne for like half a second. Walkers appear seemingly from like out of nowhere, and these 3 characters that we meet are killed. by the walkers. Michonne and Rick are able to get away, and they don't get away, I should say, but they're able to get to safety in this building, and they have a kind of a back and forth with Jadis. Rick does get shot in the face, but it's kind of like a glancing shot, just kind of cuts his forehead. Jadis is talking from cover, reminding them of what will happen to Alexandria if she dies. Jadis also reveals that when Rick got the plan was that when Rick got back from taking Michonne wherever it was he was supposed to be taking her, I guess back to Philadelphia, that Major General Bill was going to give him the echelon report, or briefing, I should say, the echelon briefing. In a move to fake Jadis out, they agreed that Rick will go back if Michonne can be let go, to go back, and that'll be the agreement that they have, and so Michonne fakes her out that she's going to go and get a first aid kit to help with Jadis's wounds from the hatchet. Rick steps out, and of course Jadis wasn't being for real. She still plans on killing Rick, and I guess Michonne too at this point. And because she's kind of back and forth, but so Rick steps out, and Jadis reveals that it's a double cross, but it's okay because Michonne was never going to let Jadis live, and she was prepared for the fake out of the fake out. But the three characters that were killed, that Jadis that tried to rob Rick and Michonne, that Jadis brought into this, they died, and they are reanimated. They come back as walkers, and Jadis tries to give her threats again about Alexandria and what will happen, but I think Michonne is she's just heard enough. And Jadis, they come up behind Jadis. Jadis thinks that they're going to stop these walkers from biting her, but Michonne doesn't, and Jadis gets bitten in the throat. And before Jadis dies, she tells Rick and Michonne where they can find the file that she has on them and on Rick and Alexandria, so that they can get it and destroy it. But that means they have to go back to the CRM. And I think the whole point of these Father Gabriel flashbacks were I think this is actually Jadis remembering him and the time with him, and it kind of helps her. Because she's Jadis, but she's also Anne, and I think this helps bring her back to Anne, and kind of shows that she wasn't all in on the CRM, but she was definitely in. I mean, she was an evil character because she was willing to do these terrible things, and but yeah, in the end, when she was dying, she chose to be Anne. In one of the Father Gabriel flashback scenes, we see that Gabriel found a ring and was going to give it to Rick, so he could use it to give to Michonne as a wedding band, but then the bridge happened and he was never able to do it. But he gives it to Jadis, or Anne, in as a symbol of love, because she's struggling with who she's become, and as she's dying, she gives it to Rick, and then she asks Rick to keep his promise, meaning to kill her, and Rick does. He puts her out of her misery. So now with Jadis dead, Rick and Michonne have no choice but to go back to the CRM. And they have to find this report. They have to destroy it. So they go to get Jadis's helicopter. And before they get to the helicopter, Rick takes the opportunity to let Michonne know that he is with her. He's not about the CRM. And he asks her, he gives her the ring and gets down and on his knees, and they kiss, and they have this last really good moment of this proposal before they go back. And it's kind of scary to me because Rick does say he is with Michonne until his last breath, and I really feel like they're kind of hinting that one of these characters may not make it out, but gosh, I hope not. Right? I mean, right now I'm pretty optimistic, but I'm preparing myself for that. And then we see Father Gabriel. He's preparing for another year's meeting with Anne, but of course she can't come because she is dead. And I guess it kind of leaves him hanging. He doesn't know what happened to her, and that's how we leave it. But I really think that it was neat the way they brought Father Gabriel back to end Jadis' story and find out that yes, she was kind of the villain. She was a villain. She made terrible threats, but she was still Anne on the inside. She thought she was doing the right thing or she thought she was doing the wrong things for the right reason, is the best way to put that. And I really like the way they ended her character. I'm glad that the character is gone because I did not like the way she became. But I think Pollyanna McIntosh was fabulous. And oh my gosh, the scene where she is injured and she's talking to Rick, she did such an amazing job of being convincing that just how injured she was. And I think she did a really, really good job in this episode. I really enjoyed this episode. And after we see Father Gabriel, then we get the last shot of the episode, and it is Rick and Michonne returning to the CRM in the helicopter that Jadis came in. So later on, I'm going to do, probably after this video, I'm going to do a video breaking down the teaser for next week, the finale for next week. I'm going to do a video breaking down all these scenes with Gabriel and probably Jadis's death scene. So if you want to make sure you see those, check back later or sub to the channel if you haven't already. That way you don't miss them. And yeah, guys, I really enjoyed this episode. It would be hard to. Last week's episode was so good. It's kind of hard to outdo that one, but I think this was a great follow-up to that episode. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed my review of episode 5, Become. If you did and you want to see more content, you can click the box on the left and that will take you to my The Once to Live playlist, or you can sub so you don't miss any future content, or you can click the box on the right and that will take you to one of my most recent uploads. Guys, I'll see you in the next video.